YouTube, the Broke Brick is back. So we're gonna do a review. Yabba Dabba Dud. On tabletop for review is Flintstones 21316. Welcome to the Broke Brick. Cue the T-Rex. Welcome to the Broke Brick, ladies and gentlemen, where we have gone back in time to the Jurassic period with the Flintstones, everybody's favorite Hanna-Barbera characters. And 748 pieces, a retail of $59.99. Let's jump into the review, take a look at what we've got. But before we jump into the review, let's take a look. Broke Brick being eaten by a Triceratops. Ah, that's better. That's exactly what we get in this set. Oops. We don't get a pterodactyl either. Throw him off to the side. This is what $59.99 gets you. Let's jump into the car first. So here we have the iconic Flintstones vehicle in all of its glory. Comparative to the actual idea submission, this is a much simpler build. It does work. It is rolling right now on a hard surface, but it doesn't roll too well, being that this is a smooth, hard plate. Not necessarily a plate, but whatever this oval large shape is that they use for the wheels. I do like, versus the Lego submission, that Lego did include a cloth piece. The build that the Lego submission was just as fine, but I think the cloth piece works out a little better. To remove your figures or place them, you simply bend that back, pull out Fred, Wilma, Barney, and Betty. Set them to the side and we can take a deeper look. The inside, if I have a complaint, it is because this is not an open section for the figures to place their feet down and actually propel the vehicle as it does in the show. You get all of these printed circle pieces that act as logs for the axles of the vehicle. And it's a simple build, but it works. Overall, a decent build, has a decent shape to it for the show. And if there's one thing that we can change and modify, and it probably wouldn't be too difficult, is to actually relieve these floorboards in here so the characters can put their feet down on the ground and propel it. Otherwise, a nice build. Does come with the Brontosaurus ribs here, the Bronto ribs, which will tip the vehicle. It doesn't work too well. The Lego submission had an actual platform that allowed the vehicle to stay tipped over rather well. This, you kind of have to balance it out, and it doesn't always work. So a bit of a miss. You can get it to stay eventually. I prefer the staggered white, red in order to make a rib appearance. Probably will extend this out, maybe give it a little bit more weight so that it actually may hold the vehicle on its own, and I don't have to do a balancing act. But up next on the tabletop is the fantastic build of the home of the Flintstones. They can invite all their friends, the Rubbles, over for dinner. Some extra Bronto ribs. You do get this front facade here. Nice little details going on with the stonework. You get a couple of these potted plants up front. A couple of the empty milk containers, if you've ever watched the show. Put out Dino and the milk containers. And that cat, saber-toothed cat, will come around, I'm sure. You got a few more details. I will say a lot of the piece count goes into the greebling on this chimney. There is a heavy piece count that I wasn't expecting in this chimney here, and also in the roof section, but we'll get to that in a second. These in a light brown to make some coconuts. They're just minifigure heads, and they work outstanding. I really like the way that build turned out. Moving on to the internal of the Flintstones home, we can remove the roof section here. It's all just one giant build. Actually, it's really well designed, and I like that you can just kind of put it on, take it off. These open up here to add extra room for your play features. You get a few bowling pins on the side. You get the lamp. I like the build of the lamp. I don't think it's as good as the submission. Don't think it's as good as the Lego's idea submission. It doesn't really work in terms of the Flintstones build, but The build itself for a lamp is excellent. Inside, you get a stone couch. Take a look at this printed tile of the woolly mammoth. A woolly mammoth picture, or perhaps this is supposed to be an opening outside? No, this is the chimney. I will say the complaint with the chimney, and I can't even get in there in the camera, but you can see just a small glow of the orange, and if I remove that, oh boy, I messed up my camera. Here you can see the small glow of the fireplace up into the chimney. This is kind of a miss because once you put your couch back in, there's almost zero play feature back there, and you can't even see it in between the wall and the couch. So you just have an extra little tile section, and you lose that little bit of playability up here for the figures. This, I don't know if it's warranted, it's a detail, but you lose it once the couch actually goes in. So kind of, here's a nice table for the Flintstones to enjoy a meal. They get a couple cherries in this bowl here. Cherries and limes, I'm guessing. They utilize the Unikitty plate, Unikitty minifigure plate, which is a cloud shape, in order to do that table. That is outstanding. The missing Dino is definitely a cop-out by Lego, and I don't really, though it's a nice little fanfare, because Dino did go missing in an episode, I feel that they should have included Dino in this set. So I'm kind of disappointed in that, but I knew that going into the set. The last remaining build here is Wilma's phone. And I think this is a stellar way to get Wilma's phone, which she'll be talking to Betty Rubble on. And the draperies in both windows are printed saber-tooth skins. So excellent printing, all prints, and no stickers. Zoom out. Last but certainly least, we have this Flintstones mailbox. We get the printed tile of Flintstones. I wish they would have given you two so you could have done it on the opposite side. There is no S. There is preliminary sketches for the show itself that it only said Flintstone, but in the show it says Flintstones, and they are the Flintstones. So I wish they would have added an S. You get this printed letter, and in my opinion, Lego should have included some kind of stone printed letter. Or I feel that regular mail didn't exist in the Flintstones period. Finally, we have the 4 minifigures that are included in the set. We got Wilma and Betty, Barney, and Fred. And let's take a look at the girls first. We have less complaints about them. Taking a look at Wilma, I really love this facial expression on her. She is obviously going to be upset with Fred coming in late from bowling and drinking. Here's her other facial expression and back printing. You can still see her pearl necklace on the back. I think they nailed her figure itself, and though this, I don't really care for this secondary facial expression as much. I don't know if it captures the character. Alternate expression captures the character as well as this one does. I do prefer this one. You have Betty on the right. Betty Rubble, that means trouble. And this opaque skin tone, always a miss on Lego's part. She has this facial expression here where she's pretty excited, laughing with Wilma, I'm sure. On the back side, she has a happier face. And again, we miss with the opaque skin, but they nail the figures in terms of their actual proportions and figures and that. I think the girls are a pretty good fit, and these two facial expressions at least work rather well for them. Let's take a look at the boys. Here you have Fred Flintstone, our favorite character, and Barney Rubble. We already have problems with these figures, being that Barney Rubble should be significantly shorter than Fred, and I'm really upset about that. I think it's a total miss by Lego. In terms of the facial expressions, I think Barney's is okay. These noses just don't do it for me on either figure for the males. I am not a fan of the nose prints for these facial expressions. I think they should have done something a little bit more like the Lego submission. I think Fred should have had a more irate expression where he's pounding on the door to come back into the house because it's locked and he's been put out for the night, or maybe he's irate with Barney. But either way, I don't know if this expression captures Fred Flintstone. A bit of a miss. I do like the costume prints on all of these figures, and they go all the way around. And here's a quick look at the back of each of the male figures. Here's the set as a whole. Everything you get, $59.99, 748 pieces, is the value there. I think we're close. I think that a lot of this piece count comes into these little greebling bits around the facade of the home and in this chimney. I didn't make a count, but it's got to be 150 just small little bits and pieces. You do get the 4 figures, but missing the children, Bam Bam and Pebbles, is a giant miss. I'm hoping that Lego releases them in some other form in the future. So hopefully Lego will include Bam Bam, Pebbles, and Dino in a future set or future build if this sells well. At $59.99, you get a decent volume of stuff. A couple small upgrades, I think we're there. But as it stands, I think $10 less would be a more ideal price point, even though you're getting a lot of pieces in this. There are a lot of small pieces, so it's tough. If we take a look at the Lego's idea submission, it kind of looks like Lego may have dumbed down the set a bit and maybe just pushed it a little bit too far. And at the end of the day, Lego is supposed to be a building kit. It's not supposed to give you everything. And with a few small pieces, a couple dinosaurs, this thing actually looks really good. So enjoy it as always. I think if you can get it on a double VIP or get a promotion out of it, it would be better served. And certainly, let's all hope that Lego releases the additional characters. But that's it for this review. Remember to like, subscribe, and what do you guys think?